Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and you'll notice that I'm not alone today. There is someone else on screen, and that should be a familiar face to the majority of you. If you don't know, God knows how you would know, get to know. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on to the Ryan 118 channel, Mr. Hamish Carton. Hamish, it feels like it's been an absolute eternity since you've been on my channel. It was only a few days ago we spoke on your channel. It's nice to have you. How you doing?
I'm good, Ryan. Thank you for having me. Lovely to be asked on, and always enjoy. It's like a step up for me coming on Ryan 118. You've got it's like going from me playing at St Mirren Park, which is kind of where I'm at with the subscribers, to I was going to say Ibrox. You're kind of Ibrox at the
Oh,
moment, aren't you? Because you're about
oh. Well, listen
50,000.
now, listen now. Let's no
It's
use
always
that as
been
the
my dream
comparison.
to come to Ibrox
We
and
could do
play.
Hampden Park, it's close. No, it's a pleasure. I mean, you're flying, mate, and I'm assuming that the majority of my daily viewers will be more than aware that Celtic AM does exist now. But in case they're not aware, go over, hit subscribe, and Hamish. How's it been going anyway for the people who might not be aware that you've done it? How's life over there? You enjoying yourself?
I know it's been great in terms of the channel. It's been going for, I think, mid-February, so it's been coming up to not far off a year now, and it's been going great and really quick growth of the channel, thanks to probably a lot of your viewers and a lot of other people watching it and interacting and subscribing and liking and all of that stuff. So no, it's great, and get some of the old guys from 67 Hail back now, like John and Stevie and Asim. So it's the kind of the old squad's back together. So no, I'm enjoying it.
No, it's class to see you all back together because obviously great content. So if you aren't aware, get over there. Hamish, you'll soon be in Ibrox territories of subscribers
Hopefully
soon, I'm
not.
sure.
Hopefully not.
Well, I'm assuming that it'll go well.
How
Anyway,
how high do you think you can get? By the way, like
this
what?
is
Because there's got to be a
there is,
cap.
of course. Aye, there's like it's one of the things people always ask me, like, are you what you gotta do when you get your 100,000 subscriber plaque? I'm like, if I get to 100,000 subscribers, I will be stunned, and it will take about
Yeah,
6, 7 more years, which I'm fine with. The way that I
yeah,
always look at it is, if the daily viewers are there and I'm making my money, I don't really care about the total number. But let's hope that somehow I can pass like the capacity of Celtic Park. That would
be
be
a big day. Big day.
That'd be pretty cool. Talking about Celtic Park, nice segue. Tonight, we head back there for a Champions League game. Celtic take on Club Brugge in match day 5 of the competition. It's been an unbelievable start to the Champions League campaign, Hamish. Before we start talking about the game itself, let's kick off the conversation by just hearing what you thought of the Champions League so far, how you thought of Celtic's performances, the new format, just generally, how good has it been, and how much are you enjoying it?
Yeah, I'm loving the new format. I think people were kind of skeptical originally. I remember doing a video on it a while ago before people properly knew it was happening, and I think there was a
Mm-hmm.
lot of skepticism because it was something new. And I think originally the general feeling was that this was like the new Super League, and obviously people are kind of tuned to be against like the Super League, and I
Mm-hmm.
think with good reason. That Super League project that they started was horrendous, and I think people maybe felt that this new Champions League format was a step towards that, and it was a bad thing. When you actually looked at it, I thought it was a great thing for Celtic. The main thing for me was that our matches went up from 6 to 8, and for me, the more European matches Celtic can play, the better, as far as I'm concerned. Because Scottish football, while it's our bread and butter, I genuinely feel at this stage Celtic might have kind of outgrown Scottish football. I don't know if that's a controversial thing to say, but Scottish football,
This is why I like recording with you, because I think we're very similarly tuned when it comes to.
yeah.
I've been saying that for quite a while now, so I agree. I get it's controversial, but I get where you're coming from. I agree
And
with that.
that's not me like saying, "Oh, Celtic will win every trophy going in
Mm-hmm.
Scottish football for the rest of eternity," because obviously
Nah.
teams will beat us and obviously in one-off games. But Scottish football, I always get a buzz watching Celtic and this current team especially. But you don't get the buzz from Scottish football that you do from Champions League matches, even derbies at the
Yeah.
moment. Like I felt far more up for Slovan Bratislava opening match than I did for the
Oh yeah,
Rangers game,
100%.
genuinely, because it's
Mm-hmm.
at Champions League level. So I feel like the Champions League is where Celtic should need to be, and the more games the better. So that was an obvious positive of the new format. I think the fact you're playing different teams is great as well. Like just getting to know 8 different teams rather than 3, which it was previously. And obviously, I love the fact they're all in this giant league table. I wasn't really sure how that was going to go. I wasn't sure if it was all going to feel pretty meaningless. Like you would see the top teams just completely romping it and being through. And I know there's maybe a few examples, like Liverpool are pretty much through. But generally, like you look at like Man City last night and they're 3-0 up and Feyenoord come back, and there's been real entertainment, I think. So it's been great on an overall point. I think from a Celtic point of view, obviously the fact that we're doing well means that people are enjoying it more. If we were struggling and losing every game, that wouldn't be the case. Thought Slovan Bratislava game, we were fabulous. Brilliant performance. I know they've lost every game. They're not a great side by Champions League level, but we were brilliant that night, and I hope that the fact we're playing them doesn't take that away. We scored 5 goals at Champions League level. Dortmund was obviously horrendous. Don't need to say anything more about that.
We'll forget about that.
Atalanta was a really good backs-to-the-wall performance. I didn't think we were great going forward. I thought we were really poor in possession, but that wasn't what that night was about. That night was about digging in, being resolute, getting a result, and we did that. It was a brilliant defensive display. And then Leipzig was obviously the best performance so far. Like the team just reached a level that night that I thought was fabulous, but I think we're capable of it again, and we're sitting here with 7 points and huge opportunity against Club Brugge to get to 10. And if we do that, you're basically through with 3 games to spare. So I think the Champions League's been amazing. I'm absolutely loving it at the moment. I'm loving the fact we've got a Celtic team we can actually be proud of at that level now.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch, and I think obviously there's been a lot of backlash surrounding this new format, but it's mostly come from fans of teams like Arsenal and because they're fed up of not getting their way. They're sick of seeing that teams like Brest were above them at a point in the competition. You're so immature, aren't you? So immature. But
you see do you see CBS or whatever in their clip last night?
Thierry Henry and all the rest. They constantly laugh at it. It's great, but it's always them that moan. I'm loving it. I think for fans, and it helps that Celtic were given quite a favourable draw. Let's not beat around the bush. It was a fantastic draw for Celtic in terms of the opposition. But every team's here for a reason. There's still top sides, even sides like Slovan and Bratislava have earned their way into the competition. And we haven't beat teams like that 5-1 in years, maybe since like the 60s. So, this is big stuff for Celtic, and I'm personally loving it. And you were nailing the head with the whole, it's so great knowing that even after a game like Dortmund, we lost 7-1, and every other year you'd be thinking, well, great, now they've got to come to Parkhead, and now we're going to have to suffer again. Now we're probably going to lose 3-4-0 at Parkhead. But Dortmund's done. It's out the way. You're on to the next set of opposition. So I'm loving it, and it's been great entertainment. I mean, like right now, as we just to say it very quickly, the top 8 as it stands, Sporting Lisbon are in there, Monaco are in there, Atalanta are 4th. That just puts that draw in perspective.
Yeah.
Just shows you how great a result it was. But anyway, the team that we play tonight, Club Brugge, after the first night of fixtures this week, sit 23rd in the league table. I believe they were 22nd heading into the match day, so still very much in with a shout of qualification. Hamish, this is a team that I think a lot of people have looked at as a favourable team to beat. One of the games on paper that should be 3 points for Celtic. But is that what's troubled Celtic in the past? Is that the kind of game that has came across and slapped us in the face and said, remember who you are? How confident are you feeling about tonight's game, and what do you make of the club themselves, Club Brugge?
Yeah, I think Celtic will win. I think we'll win the game. I don't think it will be an easy game. They're clearly a good side. They're probably every bit as good as us, and they've done much better than us in recent years. Semi-final of the Conference League last year, so it's clearly. If you look at our 4 home games we've had, I think we've been extremely fortunate to get Slovan Bratislava and Young Boys at Celtic Park. I think they're pretty obviously the 2 worst teams in the tournament. I think Young Boys lost 6-1 at home to Atalanta. So we've been very fortunate with those 2 games. I think Leipzig was a very tough match. They've lost every match, but clearly they're a very good side, going well in the Bundesliga. So that was a good result. Club Brugge is certainly, I think a kind of mid-ranking team. They were a pot
Yeah.
two team. I think it could have been much worse from that pot two, but I think tonight's game is a pretty even matchup. I would say. I'd say we are favourites given we have home advantage, but I think if the fixture was flipped and we were going to Belgium, I think they would be favourites. So I think the teams are pretty even. As I say, I think we'll win the game, but I think it'll be another one of those back and forth matches where there's maybe a goal in it. They've clearly got some good players, but I just think sometimes as Celtic fans, like obviously you need to show respect to the other team, and I think we're certainly all doing that. I've not come across any Celtic fans saying this is going to be easy tonight. We've already got 10 points. Everyone knows this is a tough game, but I think equally we need to talk ourselves up as well. Like, I'm fed up of hearing Celtic fans going, "Oh, Bruges have fabulous players, this, that, players that can hurt us." We've got really good players now. We've got players that can hurt. I genuinely believe we've got players that can hurt most teams in Europe at the moment. Guys like Nicholas Kuhn and Daizen Maeda and Kyogo and Rio Hatate. Like, we've got a really good Celtic team at the moment, and I hope the atmosphere tonight is a positive one. Nobody's going in complacent or thinking it's going to be easy, because it's not going to be easy. But I hope everyone's going in feeling really good about ourselves and confident, and I hope the team feel like that as well. So I think Celtic will win.
Yeah, I agree, because I said it in my match preview last night, the video I done yesterday, that this is still a game that we need to ultimately look at as winnable. There's no point in putting ourselves down to the level of, well, it's going to be tricky. I don't know if I fancy our chances. Of course, we just beat Leipzig 3-1, as you mentioned. This is definitely a game which Celtic should be winning, and I think it would maybe add some disappointment if we don't win the game. But maybe that's time to also reflect on the fact that if we didn't get the job done, it's not the end of the world. It's definitely not a catastrophe. Like, we still have a couple of really good games. You've mentioned Young Boys. Zagreb away from home is one of the nicer away ties we could have got. So it's not, this isn't make or break tonight for Celtic. But it is a huge opportunity to basically seal ourselves where we need to be. You mentioned Celtic Park, Hamish. Brendan Rodgers did comment on Celtic Park in the press conference today, and how important the home ground plays and part of these games, saying it's really special, and the stadium will make it difficult for Club Brugge. So hopefully the fans turn up in full voice, and listen, an early goal, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. But even if we don't get that first goal, the Leipzig game proved that the team can come back. So I feel good about the game. I think, as I say, it's going to be a tough game. They're going to be a good side. I think their approach is going to be interesting. Mm-hmm. They're clearly going to be able to move the ball. They're going to have spells in the game where they have opportunities. But I think very clearly we're going to have spells as well. And I don't know. How could you not feel good about this Celtic team right now when you watch that performance against Leipzig?
Yeah. We've started this season better than we started in an Invincible season. Than we started the season after that. And this is the best European version of Celtic that I've seen in a long, long time. Maybe not my lifetime, but certainly in a long time. So they're giving us all the right reasons to be excited. We'll kind of touch on the team before we wrap things up, because obviously there is a couple of conversations. I think one being glaringly obvious, but I did want to touch on your opinions of Arne Engels at the minute, because it's all my comment section wants to talk about. And going into this game tomorrow night, it seems like one of the discussions is, should he be dropped? Should Paulo Bernardo come in? Is he doing enough to justify his position in the team at the minute? Now, I'll just kick things off, Hamish, and say, I feel like everything's a little bit over the top. I'm not on his back as much as some others are. I don't see Brendan Rodgers dropping him tomorrow night. What do you make of the conversation surrounding him at the minute, and where do you see his place going into this game?
I think generally when the big games come up, Engels is in the team. Think back to when he just signed and we played a couple of matches. I think it was the Hearts game at Celtic Park. Mm-hmm. And I think that's when he made his first start. And I think leading up to that, had Paulo Bernardo been playing really well. I think Paulo Bernardo did well in the derby, which was maybe the game prior to that. And then Engels started that game, and then the Slovan Bratislava game came up. Again, Engels started that game. So I think Engels is in Brendan Rodgers' team when the big games come around, a bit like Greg Taylor. I think that's pretty harsh on Bernardo, because Bernardo hasn't really put a foot wrong, apart from Dortmund away when the whole team was poor that night. But I think it's maybe fair to say Engels' best performances have been in Europe so far.
I agree. I said it yesterday as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's a coincidence either. I'd need to kind of look more closely, but I would say that
I think there's maybe a conversation that maybe him adapting to Scottish football might be a bit harder than it is for him to play these teams that, Leipzig, he played in the Bundesliga. So you're going to see maybe the positives that he showed in Germany against a team like that.
So what are his strengths as a player? Because his strengths for me so far looking, obviously set piece stuff, but that's the same regardless of what competition you're in. But his running power is quite a big thing, and he's kind of quite a strong runner. Nice wee flicks here and there. And I feel like European game, it's more high octane, end to end type stuff. And I think you've seen the best of Engels in some of these games. Even when you play Slovan Bratislava, as we say, the weakest team in the tournament, they're far more attacking and aggressive than basically any team we play in Scotland. So and then you go back domestic stuff, and a lot of it's just with the ball, and maybe that's not quite his strength yet. It's clearly something he has to work on, playing against packed defences. But it does feel to me that Engels has really played well in the European games. Obviously, Dortmund was a bit of a shambles all round, but the other games he's been pretty good. But domestically, he's maybe not quite there yet. I still think he's had some good domestic displays. I agree with you. I think some of the chat has been over the top. I don't think Arne Engels is playing particularly badly at the moment. I just think that he's not probably playing quite as well as like Rio Hatate, for example, or Paulo Bernardo off the bench. But I think sometimes as fans, we just need to have a bit of patience, and things will work out.
The pressure of having that £11 million.
Yeah, it's not his fault. He didn't choose the price.
Let me have your starting 11 prediction. Go on.
I'm very good at this, by the way. I'm extremely
seen how bad
good.
I was at it at the weekend when I was on your channel. So you've got a stage here to kind of show me up.
I'm starting to think like me and Brendan are kind of, our minds are connected in some way, like Harry Potter and Voldemort or something like that. Like, I don't know who would be Voldemort like that, but I just feel like I know what he's thinking. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the goalkeeper is going to be Casper. You're going to have Alistair Johnson, right back. Carter Vickers, trusty centre back. Greg Taylor's going to be in at left back. The midfield's going to be McGregor, Engels, Hatate.
Yes.
Harsh and Bernardo, and then you're going to have Kuhn, Kyogo, Maida. That's your team.
Exact same 11.
And people are going to start thinking I'm the leak.
It's getting to that point where maybe the team is a bit predictable, but there's nothing wrong with that, I don't think. It means that we've got a team that are playing well, and you can trust them in Europe now. I'm happy that we can go into a European game and go Vickers and Trusty, good centre-half partnership. I think obviously the big conversation has come around Greg Taylor and whether or not he should start that game tomorrow night, whether he's been good enough to justify a start. But listen, it is what it is, and I think Hamish, it's a team that's more than good enough to get the job done.
Yeah, and I mean, Ross County at the weekend, so you probably make changes for that ahead of Aberdeen next midweek away from home, which is going to be a pretty big game. Chance to potentially go like 8 clear of them, maybe if we get a result this weekend. So then obviously full strength for that. And then you've got Hibs at Celtic Park after that. So again, maybe a few changes for that. So we do have opportunities the next couple of weekends to change the teams a little bit. But in terms of the midweek stuff, it's pretty full on. You know, Club Brugge this midweek, Aberdeen next midweek, Dinamo Zagreb the following one. So, yeah, I mean, maybe you'd look at the fact the weekend, the team, because I think that's the same team that I've named as that started at the weekend. So maybe you would think there should be changes there. But I know Vai could potentially start. I don't know, but I just think Brendan Rodgers wants Greg Taylor in that team when the big games come around, like Leipzig. So I think Taylor will start. And, you know, I wouldn't be stunned if Bernardo started. Like, I wouldn't be. If Bernardo was in for Engels, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be stunned.
Be unhappy.
No, not at all. Not at all. But I just think I think Hatate has to be in the team given how he played against Leipzig and Hearts at the weekend. McGregor's obviously going to be there, and I just think Engels up against his former team as well. Point to prove. We saw what happened with Nicholas Kuhn against Leipzig. So,
Yeah, exactly.
Because Engels is a big name in Belgium now. He's a Belgium international regular starter. So there's going to be a lot of eyes on him. There's going to be a lot of eyes in Belgium on the game anyway, obviously, but especially on him. So I think starting him would be a good move.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great game. Hamish, before we see our final farewells, I always offer the opportunity for any final thoughts. Anything that I've not covered, anything that you're dying to say. It could be anything at all. So now's your chance. Speak now. Forever hold your peace. On you go.
You see the Hibs Aberdeen game? It was three late goals. Pretty mad, wasn't it? Did you see the boy Sockler's goal?
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Goal of the season.
I was about to say, my mate, you're familiar with Big David Buick, who I used to do Talk Scottish football with.
Yes.
So he had 50 quid on Aberdeen to win tonight because the odds were quite good. And he was up, we were on Discord, he was dancing round the place when Aberdeen scored their third goal, and then bang, seconds later, what happened? Hibs equalised.
Shocker.
Brilliant.
That's why you don't gamble.
It is. As I always say, gamble responsibly, but I'm not a gambler myself. Hamish, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, mate. We'll need to do this again soon sometime because it's good conversation. It's good crack. I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's been great to be on. Lovely to chat to all the wonderful subscribers who are probably, or not subscribers, sorry, viewers who are probably all my viewers as well. So
exactly.
I'll see you over there as well.
Make sure you go and check out Hamish's video, which has probably come out a few hours before this.
Yeah.
And if you haven't, for any reason, not subscribed to Hamish, then go over and do it because he's one of the better Celtic related channels on the platform. One of the best, if not the best. So get over there, hit subscribe. Hamish, take care. Enjoy the rest of your day, mate. And for the rest of my viewers, I'll see you after the game where hopefully the match reaction is a positive one. See you next time.